Hello, everybody. RMJ Movie Reviews back again. This time I'm not gonna do a movie review. I'm just gonna have a general fun discussion. Today I'm gonna talk about why I miss the 1980s. Oh man, let me tell you. Again, like I've said 157 times, I was born in '81, so I was a little kid, you know. Up and through the 80s, and then of course I was a teenager, preteen, through kind of the early to mid 90s, and then a teenager, late 90s. So I'm a product of the 80s, the Reagan era, and the I guess I could call it the Clinton. I'm part of the Reagan, Bush, Clinton era as far as my little kid and teenage years goes. Man, I miss the 80s so much. Guys, the other day I was actually in my little VHS collection that I showed you guys. I think that's one of the reasons I hold on to my VHS tapes. I miss the days when kids' movies from the 80s were politically incorrect. Movies like Monster Squad, The Goonies, Gremlins, which I guess is kind of a kids' movie. Even some stuff in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Is really a lot of it is there's creepy stuff in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I just miss the days of getting up in the morning and watching Saturday morning cartoons. When NBC and CBS used to have Saturday morning cartoons. I miss when the USA cable network used to not show Law and Order all damn day. Guys, those of us who were like in our early 30s, and I don't know if the guys in their 40s miss it, but I miss those days, man, when I could plug the TV in my room, because I had a black and white television then, and I would just turn it on 3, 5, 8, 19, and Channel U, which Channel U here in Cleveland could either be Channel 43 WUAB, or you could turn it to Channel 55, and I'd be able to see this wonderful world of just all these movies that they would air on TV. There's none of that now, man. The video stores are gone. I remember when I used to go spend the night over my dad's house on the weekends. My father would always take all of us to the video store. And I remember we would go to the video store. We would go to Earl's. Guys, it's either Earl's or Errol's. YouTube Earl's Video, I think that's what it's called. And it'll show a commercial on there. But Blockbusters bought them out, as I said before in the previous review. And I remember, man, they would have all these advertisements for movies. They would have I never forget one time we went to and it wasn't Earl's then, it was a different video store. I don't remember what it was called then. But this must have been 1986. And I'll never forget, they had the poster for A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. And they had a standee poster for Police Academy. I don't remember which number was in 86. That might have been 3. I think it was before 4. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. It was 4 or 3 if I remember right. And I remember you could smell the popcorn in the video store. And it was actually real popcorn in those days. You know what I mean? And I'll never forget, my older siblings had rented Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. And then rented Friday the 13th, the final chapter. And we would watch all these movies. Jason, I wasn't afraid of. Freddy, I'd be scared to death. Because I remember when I saw Nightmare on Elm Street 2, I was utterly terrified of Freddy. It's the scene where he bit Lisa and he goes, "Come on! Kill him, Lisa! Kill him!" And I was terrified of Freddy. And anybody who's younger, watch that scene from Nightmare on Elm Street 2. And I know that movie gets a lot of flack, but trust me, I think Robert Englund as Freddy himself is scary in that movie, in my opinion. Just this wonderful world of movies, and there were no parental locks. Like I said, I could turn on my black and white TV in my room. I could watch Big Chuck and Little John, which is kind of popular in the Cleveland area, and they would show these movies. They would show Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis. I never forget when WOIO 19, before Channel 8 and them merged here in Cleveland, they had their own channel, and they had Fox then. This was a little bit before Fox, but I remember I saw the movie The Exterminator with the Vietnam veteran and Steve James, and I remember I would see all these wonderful exploitation films, and even to this day, people who were my age or people who were a little bit older than me in their 40s, they always ask me, how have I seen all these movies? And it was because back in those days, there were no parental locks and you could just watch them on your TV at night. You know what I mean? I mean, my mother used to want me to go to bed, but I never slept. I didn't start to sleep until, you know, I got a full-time job when I was an adult. But I'd see all these movies, and I remember on the weekends when I'd be over at my dad's house, I'd watch HBO like all night long, and I would always watch the USA Up All Night cable network, and I would watch like the Toxic Avenger, and they'd have all these obscure, crazy movies that I would watch. And you know, I think that's kind of a lot of where my love of filmmaking came from. You know, just all that stuff. I miss the days when me and my cousins, and I remember when my dad bought me my first Nintendo I think it was for Christmas. In '86, the NES with Duck Hunt and Mario on the same disc. And I still have that Nintendo, and I still play it. When I buy a flat screen, I'm going to attempt to hook that up. I don't know if it'll work, but we'll see. But, man, I miss the days of when we would play Nintendo, and we would play Tecmo Bowl, and we would just have such a ball staying up all night playing this stuff. You know, I miss, man, like, you know, going to the playground at school, and me and my friends, we would talk about all these obscure. I remember going to the playground, and we would talk about like all these Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. Like we talk about like Commando and Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, and we talk about like different cartoon characters and who fought who. I just miss the days of Saturday morning cartoons. You have one HBO, you have one Showtime, you have one Cinemax. I mean, the video store was so much fun, and it just, man, everything sucks now. It just, man, I miss just the good old days, man. It was nothing like that cable television era of when you just had like all these different diverse choices of things you could watch on TV. Everything, I mean, you still got a diverse choice now, but if it seems kind of more, there's no creativity there. I really miss the 80s, man, so much. That's why, like, that video VHS collection I showed you guys, I always keep those tapes, because to me, when I watch those tapes, that's like transporting back in the time. You know what I mean? You just transport back to that era. That's why, like, I always knock stuff. Like, when I knock stuff like these PG-13 action movies and these comic book films, I mean, give me the days, the good old days, when you had a good profane action picture that was politically incorrect, man. I just, man. And when horror movies were raw. You know what I mean? The other day, I used to just love the shock that I would get when I was a kid from. I never forget seeing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. I remember my father actually let me and my cousins rent that from the video store. We had like a whole choice. It was like Friday the 13th Part 7, and it was like Friday the 13th 1 and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, where they're like that on the cover. And I never forget, we rented Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and the shock of watching that movie going, what in the hell is this? I miss those days, man. I miss the cable television, cartoon, comedy era. I remember when I used to watch Revenge of the Nerds on the Channel 43 network. And I love Revenge of the Nerds, man. That's such a fun movie. Matter of fact, they had Part 2 on Cinemax not too long ago. And, you know, I can kind of see Anthony Edwards now, and I know he's like all ER and character actor. But to me, that's Gilbert from Revenge of the Nerds, you know. Man, I want to go on, people, but my stupid camera's going to run out. So please, let's talk back about the 80s, the cable television era. Give me some more response. I'm going to send you guys some more VHS collection tapes too. So let's talk about the long era that we missed so much and why the 80s was so great, man. Eddie Murphy, Jason, Arsenio Hall, cartoons, Pee-wee, Ernest, Nintendo, Super Mario Brothers. And I did go to that Super Mario Brothers thing that was in the movie The Wizard with Fred Savage. I did go to that and lost. But guys, let's talk about the good old days. Ugh, man. Holler back at me, guys. RMJ Movie Reviews. Talk to you later.